if Trump is going to run for a third term, that would mean that Barack Obama could challenge him, right? If all bets are off.
If all bets are off, you're right. Wow, I didn't even think about that. So if it's okay for Trump to run for a third term, I guess it'll be okay for Barack Obama to run for a third term. So guess what? Friend of the show, Steve Bannon, said some pretty hair-raising stuff about Donald Trump running for a third term. So remember, Bannon's one of the, as they say, one of the chief architects of the MAGA movement. So let's listen to this. I don't know if you've heard this, Kurt, but this is kind of crazy.
Well, he's going to get a third term. So Trump 28. Trump is going to be president 28. And
Whoa, a third term president. So many comparisons between Donald Trump and FDR. Am I right? They both started wars. The only difference is that Trump found deportation to be more cost efficient than internment camps. So a little
hey,
6 of 1.
Well, he's going to get a third term. So Trump 28. Trump is going to be president 28. And people just ought to get accommodated with that.
So what about the 22nd Amendment?
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is. But there's a plan, and President Trump will be the president in 28. We had longer odds in 16 and longer odds in 24 than we got in 28. And President Trump will be the president of the United States, and the country needs him to be president of the United States. We have to finish what we started. And the way we finish it through Trump. Trump is a vehicle. I know this will drive you guys crazy, but he's a vehicle of divine providence. He's an instrument. He's very imperfect. He's not churchy, not particularly religious, but he's an instrument of divine will. And you can tell this of how he's pulled this off. We need him for at least one more term, right? And he'll get that in 28.
You're not driving me crazy. I'm trying to understand the coherence of the things you've just told me in the last few minutes. On the one hand, you've said the Constitution is fit for purpose. Secondly, you've said that President Trump needs another term, even though the 22nd Amendment makes pretty clear that he cannot have another term.
Why does it make that clear?
Because he's on his second term already.
At some point in time, we will make sure we go through Zanny and define all those terms.
But even if you find a way to undermine you will be undermining the spirit of that amendment, even if you find some way around it. And to those
Can the American people, if the American people, with the mechanisms we have, put Trump back in office, are the American people tearing up the Constitution? Would that be tearing up?
Well,
would the American people be going against the spirit of the Constitution, ma'am?
I think yes, actually, because I think what you will end up with is a populist justification for a quasi-dictatorship.
That's not true at all.
That's what it sounds like.
It's not. Trump is a dictatorship. Did you just see the compromises he had to make on the big, beautiful bill? You see the compromises he has to do on everything, on accommodating Zelensky, on what President Trump. President Trump is nothing but a series of negotiations to kind of keep this thing rolling forward, where he's having trade-offs all the time.
But Steve, you've just spent the last 20 minutes telling me we have to smash the other side. There's no room for debate. There's no room for compromise. We must smash them. And now you're telling me this is a negotiation. I mean, that's
no.
I guess that's why it seems to me some kind of tension
First
there.
off, the only way President Trump wins in 2028 and continues to stay in office is by the will of the American people. Okay? And the will of the American people is what the Constitution embodies. And so I think we're going to be in good hands there. We need to finish what we started. And President Trump is the instrument, a providential instrument to finish this job.
Now, I think Steve Bannon has lots of, if Trump would have listened to him, he'd be better off in his first term. He's got a lot of good populist ideas. I think this is a bad idea. It's going to, can you turn up, Kurt?
Oh.
Say again, Kurt?
You think people are going to vote for Trump in 28 after what he just did, bailing out Soros? And
I don't think so.
Is Israel the only people voting in our elections the next election?
Well, when he says we have to finish what we started, I don't know what they started. They're exploding the deficit. They're continuing to fund Ukraine. He's continuing to fund Israel. He bombed Yemen. He bombed Iran. He's bombing Venezuela. He's threatening to overthrow Colombia. He's putting sanctions on Nicaragua, sending more troops to Haiti to stop a populist sovereignty movement. He's doing everything the opposite of what people voted for. I mean, he did shut down the border, so he's got that going for him. But he's now screwing over their health care. Steve Bannon was the one who told me that they can't do that, and he's doing it. And people like Marjorie Taylor Greene are the only ones screaming about it, saying that my kids' healthcare premiums are going to double next year. They can't afford a house. They can't afford healthcare premiums. Where's our party? Where's the Republican Party's plan to fix these problems at home while he's going out doing John McCain style adventures all around the world still? So I don't know exactly. I would love to bring Steve back on the show and ask him what he means by what have you actually started. I'm sure he has a great answer for it that I don't see coming, but I don't know exactly what he's referring to when he says we have to finish what we started. They got rid of left-wing woke policies and DEI and hate speech laws, and they just brought in his pro-Zionist right-wing hate speech laws and censorship and anti-free. So I don't know exactly again what in the hell that he needs to finish, because he's going to be a lame duck after the midterms, and so the next 2 years will be nothing, and we'll see what happens. Can
JD Vance pick up the torch of being Israel's bitch if Trump can't do it?
Yeah, right.
Can Peter Thiel train him up enough in the lab?
So Trump is not eligible to run for a third term because of the 22nd Amendment. After FDR, they passed that amendment saying you can't run for more than 2 terms. Bannon's comments revived debate over Trump's long-term political ambitions and the limits of presidential power. While the U.S. Constitution restricts presidents in 2 elected terms, Trump allies have increasingly floated the idea of extending his influence beyond 2028, whether another run or a successor movement or continued dominance over the Republican Party. It is not the first time Bannon has discussed the possibility of a third term for Trump. In an interview on News Nation's earlier this month, Bannon repeated his claim that there are many different alternatives that would allow the president to serve again. There are many different alternatives to make sure that President Trump is on the ballot, and if he's on the ballot, he'll win. I don't know about that. I really don't. Bannon is not the only Republican to have raised the possibility of a third term. Florida Republican lawmaker Randy Fine, maniac, Zionist, he's also said that. Meanwhile, Republican group Third Term Project earlier this year rallied support for a Republican Representative Andy Ogle's proposal for a constitutional amendment that would allow the president to seek off. It's not going to happen. In a March interview, I wonder why they're doing. Do you think this is distraction, Kurt, to keep people talking about anything except Epstein?
Well, I don't understand what Bannon's doing.
That's what
Bannon's
I mean.
Too smart to be stupid. So
yeah.
It's like it gives me pause. It is like a creepy feeling to hear him say it, because that guy's not dumb. So he must know something I don't know. But last time he was on, he had a lot of dumb gibberish about Israel, aside from the things he said I agree with, right? He goes, come on, Israel's in a tough place. Yeah, they should be. They should be. I take that back. Israel doesn't have a constitution, and they're a democracy. Who cares about ours?
So, yeah, there's in March, Trump insisted he was not joking about the possibility of seeking a third term, claiming there were methods that could make it possible. But in August, he backtracked that on CNBC, saying he probably wouldn't run. He's probably not going to run. He hasn't announced any plans. A bid to amend the U.S. Constitution to allow Trump to run again would face a high bar, because you need the 2/3 majority in the House and the Senate, along with the support of 3/4 of the state legislatures. So that's not happening.
Or you would hold on to all the Epstein information until then and make them vote for it.
So I don't know if you. So do you know? Yeah, I agree. So I don't know if you know what the fourth turning theory is.
It sounds a lot like the fourth industrial revolution from the other guy.
Yeah, you know what? I don't really want to get into the fourth turning.
It just sounds like the same bullshit over and over that has fourth in it. I've heard 30 of them.
We're just gonna leave it at that, because that's quite a big statement that Steve Bannon made. He is a super smart guy, so I'm sure there's a tactical reason for him to say it. I mean, if they were planning that, why wouldn't you keep it secret? Why would you want everybody flipping out over it? Because that's what my All my old friends in Hollywood, Trump's going to be, he's not leaving office. He's going to stay in. And I'm always like, that sounds silly.
Well, if everybody voted for it, right? Like, here's what I would find shocking. That, okay, so they got blackmail everybody. They can make them do whatever they want. Let's face it. How would you get all the voters to sign off on that? That seems like, after all this shit of not handling it, great jerky job on the border, but as we can see, it's a thing that was very easy to do the whole time.
Very easy to do.
So it's kind of not just like letting you say things you want to say up to a point, I guess. That's an easy thing. So it's not, I'm not impressed. Like invading Venezuela, I have to say, I imagine it's not going to be. I don't understand what he must know something. There's no other. He must know something that I don't know. That's
yeah.
all.
He must.
Well, you know what? If Trump is going to run for a third term, that would mean that Barack Obama could challenge him, right? If all bets are off.
If all bets are off, you're right. Wow, I didn't even think about that. So if it's okay for Trump to run for a third term, I guess it'll be okay for Barack Obama to run for a third term.
I thought it's okay as long as it's not in a row. Am I wrong?
No, it's just no. As far as my reading of the 22nd Amendment is that it's you get 2 terms. That's it. You don't get, even if you split them up, you don't get to come back and do a third or a fourth.
We got to do it with things more like Israel, where Bibi's been in power for 20 years.
Yeah.
Democracy.
It's a real democracy. Okay, wow, that was so. I actually will reach out to Steve and have him. Hopefully, he'll agree to come back on the show. I would love to ask him questions about this.
I mean,
and everything about the Trump presidency, right?
Where's the people going to jail? Remember he said people are going to be going to jail very confidently?
Steve Bannon was the one who said that Doge got to go to the Pentagon. They didn't. He's the one who said you can't take an axe to cutting health care. They did. So he's exploding the deficit. I just would love to see, now he's doing John McCain stuff. Elliot Abrams, he's doing John Bolton's dirty work in South America and Central America. Well, I would love to have him to bounce this off him because I can't get anybody from the administration to come on.
Somebody also suggested that he could get the U.S. into a war and use that as an excuse to stay in office.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I really don't. I don't see. He could. I don't see that happening. But I could see him getting us into a war. That. What's that?
Can you see the MAGA people thinking that's a good idea? Because a big part of it was no more bullshit wars.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. But they'll, they could certainly, just like Israel, they'll pretend like they were attacked first.
Yeah, I hope it's the alien thing you're going to fake because I can't see of another false flag attack that I would give a remote shit about if it's not from outer space.
Well, I'm sure it's easy for them to set up a fake attack on American soldiers somewhere in the Middle East and say it was Iran.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, right.
No, that's exactly.
Do that.
They could always do that, which sounds like the most likely thing that they will do.
Yeah, and let's face it, everybody falls for it.
Every time.
You know what? Bannon's right.
I think Bannon is right. Name one war that Americans have been against. They were for the bombing of Kosovo under Bill Clinton. Mm-hmm. They were for the war in Afghanistan and Iraq under George Bush. They were for Libya and Syria and Ukraine. Yeah, they fall for the same story over and over. There's a bad guy. Hey, there's a bad guy. We don't like bad guy. Really, a bad guy is running a country? No kidding.
Oh no. Well, luckily we got Barry Weiss in the Free Press to keep him honest.
Every U.S. president in my lifetime is a war criminal.
Every one of them's worse than Putin. All of them.
All of them.
Like is worse. They're all worse. Much, much worse.
Come see us in Australia. Second show's added in Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane. We'll see you in Burbank, California, the day after Thanksgiving. It's a Friday. And then Pottstown, Pennsylvania, December 6th. Plus, January 11th, we're going to be in Waikiki at the Blue Note. Tickets not available yet for them, but go to jimmydore.com for a link for all the other tickets.